The head of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis, has died at the age of 88, just weeks after being released from hospital with a double lung infection. Pope Francis has died at the age of 88, weeks after a severe dose of double pneumonia. The Bishop of Rome, which was one of his official titles, died on Easter Monday, just hours after addressing the crowds in St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. He had appeared in his wheelchair on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and waved to the worshippers below, saying, "Dear brothers and sisters, happy Easter." In a statement this morning, Cardinal Kevin Farrell of the Holy Roman Church announced Pope Francis' death with the words, "Dearest brothers and sisters, with deep sorrow I must announce the death of our Holy Father Francis." At 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the house of the Father. His entire life was dedicated to the service of the Lord and His Church. He taught us to live the values of the gospel with fidelity, courage, and universal love, especially in favor of the poorest and most marginalized. He added, with immense gratitude for his example as a true disciple of the Lord Jesus, we recommend the soul of Pope Francis to the infinite merciful love of the one and true God. Francis, having been born in Argentina, was the first pontiff from Latin America. He had been elected in 2013 following the resignation of Pope Benedict for ill health. On April 20th, Easter Sunday, the Pope had written the special homily but was too frail to deliver it, giving it to one of his clergy to read aloud instead. He used it to call for more freedom and to condemn war. There can be no peace without freedom of religion, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and respect for the views of others, said his Easter delivery. What a great thirst for death, for killing we see in the many conflicts raging in different parts of the world. Francis also gave a special mention to Gaza as the ongoing conflict causes death and destruction and creates a deplorable humanitarian situation. I express my closeness to the sufferings for all the Israeli people and the Palestinian people, the message said. Call a ceasefire, release the hostages, and come to the aid of a starving people that aspires to a future of peace. He was then driven around St. Peter's Square to greet crowds, posing as people brought over their babies to his procession for him to bless. Later, he met American Vice President Vance for a brief audience, with the potential for awkwardness as Francis had been an outspoken critic of Vance and Donald Trump's deportation policies. It was one of the first times since his 5-week hospital stay that Francis had been seen in public. He had been rushed to Gemelli Hospital in Rome on the 14th of February with breathing difficulties, which led to an infection and double pneumonia. While his official cause of death still has to be verified, it will come as no surprise to followers that his recent period of ill health had taken its toll on Francis. His doctors had warned he faced 2 months of recovery after leaving hospital, but Francis had taken up light duties after feeling strong enough. Doctors had emphasized that the Pope's condition was complex due to his advanced age, lack of mobility, and having lost part of a lung when he was younger. In February and March, Francis experienced a series of respiratory crises, mild kidney failure, and a severe coughing fit early on, but they failed to douse the head of the Catholic Church's spirit as he continued to work through his hospitalization. During his stay at Gemelli, he approved a process laying the groundwork for a reform project aiming to make the Roman Catholic Church more welcoming and responsive. As the 1.4 billion Catholics around the world take in the tragic news, the Vatican will already be making plans to elect a new pontiff. In a highly secretive process, the voting clergy will form a conclave where they will be balloted in rounds until a new pope is selected from the body. That will allow the white smoke to rise from the chimney of a stove inside the Sistine Chapel, signifying to the entire world that the church has a new leader. Francis has made a significant impact on global issues beyond the walls of the Vatican. He has taken strong stances on migration, urging nations to show compassion and solidarity with refugees and displaced peoples. His advocacy for economic equality, including critiques of global capitalism and consumerism, has sparked dialogue on the moral responsibilities of governments and corporations. His frequent travels to countries facing hardship, such as his visits to Myanmar, the Central African Republic, and Iraq, demonstrate his commitment to peace, reconciliation, and outreach to religious minorities. Within the Church, Pope Francis has championed a more synodal model of leadership, promoting listening, dialogue, and shared responsibility among bishops and laypeople alike. This has been evident in his support for synods on topics like family, youth, and the future of the Church, as well as his openness to controversial discussions, including the role of women in the Church, LGBTQ+ inclusion, and the possibility of married priests in certain regions. While not without critics, Pope Francis continues to shape the papacy with a focus on compassion, simplicity, and a deep concern for humanity's most pressing issues. May his soul rest in eternal peace.